Most people think strategy is about outsmarting others, about being sharper, faster, more aggressive. But Sun Tzu believed something far more important came first, something quieter, something most people skip. He wrote, "If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles." At first glance, this sounds simple, almost obvious. And that's exactly why most people misunderstand it. Because knowing the enemy isn't just about gathering information, and knowing yourself isn't about confidence. It's about accuracy. And without accuracy, strategy collapses. In ancient warfare, assumptions killed armies. Commanders who overestimated themselves took reckless risks. They advanced too far. They committed too early. They ignored warning signs because confidence felt reassuring. Commanders who underestimated their enemies were unprepared when conflict arrived. They dismissed threats. They misread intentions. They were shocked by outcomes they should have anticipated. Sun Tzu believed the most dangerous position in any conflict was ignorance disguised as confidence. Knowing the enemy meant more than spying. It meant understanding capabilities, not rumors, recognizing patterns, not isolated actions, separating signal from noise. It meant asking, what can they actually do? What are they built for? Where are they strong? Where are they constrained? Knowing yourself was just as critical. It meant understanding strengths without exaggeration, weaknesses without denial, limits before they were tested under pressure. Victory didn't come from bravery alone. It came from clarity. Clarity reduced unnecessary battles. And unnecessary battles were the fastest way to lose everything. In modern life, the enemy rarely looks like an opponent standing across a field. It looks like a competitor, a market, a company, a system, a co-worker, a superior, sometimes even yourself. Knowing the enemy today means understanding incentives, not intentions. People say many things. Organizations issue statements. Markets signal optimism or fear. But incentives reveal truth. What motivates them? What pressures shape their decisions? What constraints limit their options? Most people mistake surface behavior for strategy. They have knee-jerk reactions to announcements. They chase headlines. They respond emotionally to short-term movement. Experienced strategists watch patterns. They look for consistency. They notice what doesn't change. They observe where effort is applied repeatedly. They recognize when to play the long game. Knowing yourself is harder. It requires honesty without ego. Most failures come from one of two errors: overestimating capability or ignoring limitations. Overestimation leads to burnout, overreach, and unnecessary conflict. Ignoring limitations leads to frustration, stagnation, and repeated mistakes. True self-knowledge isn't motivational, it's diagnostic, and that's why it's uncomfortable. Consider competition. Many businesses fail not because competitors are stronger, but because they misunderstand them. They chase features instead of advantages. They copy tactics instead of understanding positioning. They fight battles the other side is built to win. Instead of asking, what are we uniquely good at? They ask, what are they doing right now? That's reaction, not strategy. Now consider leadership. Leaders who don't understand themselves tend to overextend. They say yes when they should say no. They micromanage when they should delegate. They avoid necessary conflict or escalate unnecessarily. Self-awareness isn't softness, it's control. Leaders who know themselves understand where their judgment is strongest, where emotion interferes, and where silence is more effective than direction. In careers, this principle is violated constantly. People apply for roles they don't actually want. They pursue promotions they aren't ready for. They enter negotiations without knowing their real leverage. They confuse ambition with alignment. Knowing yourself means knowing what you're actually good at, what drains you over time, what environments amplify your strengths, and which ones expose your weaknesses. Strategy begins there, not with action, with understanding. This principle is often reduced to confidence-building advice. Believe in yourself. Know your worth. But Sun Tzu wasn't writing motivational quotes. He was writing warnings. Confidence without accuracy is dangerous. So is humility without clarity. Overconfidence blinds judgment. Underconfidence paralyzes action. True strategic confidence comes from alignment between reality, capability, and environment. When those align, decisions become easier. When they don't, stress increases, and mistakes follow. Many people mistake certainty for strength, but certainty without understanding is fragile. Accuracy creates resilience. The greatest strategic advantage is not strength, it's understanding. Understanding others without projection. Understanding yourself without illusion. When you know both clearly, you stop fighting unnecessary battles. You choose where to engage, where to withdraw, and where to wait. That is what Sun Tzu meant. Not ego, not bravado, but clarity. This is quiet strategy.